The poor man's 3 sons had all reached the age of marriage, but the family could only afford one wedding. So the poor man told his sons, whoever brings back the most beautiful flower will marry first. The 2 older brothers easily found flowers, because their lovers lived in the village. Only the youngest son was still searching in the forest, since he had no one he liked. He walked for a long time, until he suddenly saw a magnificent castle. Around the castle was a beautiful garden full of flowers. The young man was overjoyed. Just as he reached out to pick a flower, an old witch with a face full of wrinkles walked out of the castle. After listening to the young man's story, the witch generously gave him a golden flower. She smiled and told him, if you ever face trouble, you can come to me for help. The young man returned home with the flower. Sure enough, it was far more beautiful than his brother's flowers. So the poor man announced, your younger brother will marry first. But the 2 older brothers disagreed. How can he get married when he doesn't even have a fiancée? The old man had no choice but to give them another challenge. This time, they had to bring back the most beautiful handkerchief. The 2 older brothers went to their lovers again, while the youngest son went back to the witch for help. The witch quickly wove a handkerchief with golden edges, something more exquisite than anything the world had ever seen. Without a doubt, the young man won again. His brothers were furious. The old man had to give them one final chance. This time, they had to bring home a bride. Whoever brought back the most beautiful girl would marry first. Now the older brothers felt it was finally fair, but the youngest son was troubled. Did he really have to bring the old witch home? He leaned against the railing with a worried face. The witch appeared once again. After hearing his dilemma, she smiled mysteriously. She took the young man into the castle, and revealed a secret method. She told him to throw firewood into the furnace, and set it alight. When the flames rise, they will turn into witches, she said. But you must not be afraid. Wait until the last and ugliest witch appears. In her mouth, you'll see a bunch of keys. You must be brave enough to take them from her. If you succeed, your wish will come true. If you fail, you will suffer a terrible fate. After saying this, the witch calmly left the castle. The young man lit the fire. Sure enough, flames leaped out of the furnace, and each one transformed into a hideous witch. He kept his eyes fixed on the furnace, waiting for the last and ugliest witch, and just as expected, a bunch of keys hung from her mouth. Taking a deep breath, the young man reached out and grabbed the keys. In an instant, a miracle happened. The old witch turned into a beautiful princess. The other witches in the hall also transformed into handsome men and lovely women. They had all been cursed, and only someone truly brave could break the spell. The young man brought the princess home. The whole village came to witness their grand wedding. After the marriage, they moved into the castle, living happily ever after. He even gifted his brothers houses and land, so they could also marry the ones they loved.